it is now time, and this is exciting news. Because once Dirty joined the team and the operation, a level of art and creativity was brought to the building that we had never even thought about broaching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his ability to draw and make things come and be optically pleasing is second to none, and we're thankful for Dirty. So this is for Dirty because of how much work he put into this, how much research he and Bruce and others put into this. It is time to round up the 2021 NFL season. Who are the best? Who are the great? Who are the leaders in multiple different facets? How about the top 5 rushing leaders? Jonathan Taylor, number 1 in the NFL, 1,811 yards rushing this season, 18 touchdowns. Then Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook rounds out the top 5. Congratulations to these 5, their offensive line, and everything they accomplished. The NFL's leading rusher, Jonathan Taylor, bought a bunch of Louis Vuitton bags for his offensive line, which we can respect and appreciate. And AJ, we talked about this the other day as we got a little tease for the wide receiver one. 3 out of these 5 are not in the playoffs. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Also, I mean, 4 out of these 5 easily could have been left out of the playoffs. The Steelers snuck in at the end for Najee. So I don't know. What is that saying? Do you not need to run the ball to win in the NFL, Pat?
Well, then you can add Derrick Henry into this thing because he would have been in there. They're the number 1 seed. So everything means nothing, but a narrative could be painted by this particular leaderboard and saying, yeah, it doesn't matter. Look, top rusher, not even in the fucking playoffs, even though all they had to do was beat Clowntown and give him the ball more. Let's get to the wide receivers. What a year for these guys.
Hey, congrats, gentlemen.
Congrats to the top 5 receiving leaders of the 2021 NFL season. Cooper Kupp, your receiving champion.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp says, I got one of these. Maybe next year, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, and Deebo Samuel, who was not only used as a wide receiver, but also a tailback at times. So his yards from scrimmage are probably grotesque and ridiculous. But these 5 dudes, absolute superstars, AJ.
Absolute star. And a lot of them, Devontae and Cooper. How old is Cooper? Like young stars. There's so many young position stars in the league that play fun positions. Wideouts, DBs, running backs. Deebo, what does he play? Everything, just a monster. This is I think it's a good time for the NFL.
Yeah, it's a talent deep position, the wide receiver position. It's only going to get bigger and bigger, I think, with how NFL offenses continue to adjust to college offenses. Jamar Chase just 5 months ago couldn't catch an NFL ball.
That's right.
That was a real thing.
Yeah, 13 touchdowns.
13 touchdowns. The first 4 weeks, he had 4 or 5 touchdowns. I mean, came in with an absolute vengeance. Justin Jefferson's a stud. Devontae Adams is unbelievable. And Matthew Stafford has another receiving leader.
Wow. Any playoff ones?
He's got to stop throwing picks.
Yeah, throwing more picks.
That is real. He has to. Has he really?
I think he's tied for the lead, yeah.
He has to stop throwing picks. I mean, that is an actual thing. We are big Matthew Stafford fans around here. I've been banging the Matthew Stafford drum for a long time. Need them to stop throwing picks. They can go on a run. That Rams team can go on a run. Let's go to the next leaderboard. Let's go to the top 5 touchdown leaders. 43 tuds for Tom Brady.
What a season.
What a season. 5,316 yards. How you doing? Keep it moving. Wow. Antonio Brown leaves halfway through a game. They come back and get a big win. Gronkowski, Evans, Godwin. The entire squad over there is absolutely incredible. Congrats to Tom leading the NFL in touchdowns. Then Matty Stafford at 41. That does not count the pick sixes that went the other way, Ty. I know what you were going to ask, Diggs. Justin Herbert, 38 tuds, 5,000 yards. Aaron Rodgers, 37 tuds. And Dak Prescott, 37 tuds. What a year for these 5 quarterbacks. And if you look at these 5, 4 out of 5 in the goddamn playoffs. This is what people will probably bring to in their narrative painting of the rushing leader and the touchdown passing leader and who and how the offense should be run in the future.
Well, and also, again, Herbert, another one of those guys who they probably should have made the playoffs if Brandon Staley doesn't do all the things he did, throughout the way. I mean, shit. Herbert, how many 4th and 18s, 4th and 23s did he convert to get them into OT? So it's a pretty strong leaderboard, though.
Yeah, it is a strong leaderboard. AJ, your thoughts on this being a relatively older bunch
Yeah, it is. Experience shows. I mean, and also Matt Stafford had a pretty damn good year other than the interceptions, right? That was his biggest downfall.
Just as of late, it's been like the last 5-6 weeks where you start saying like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on? 7 picks in the last 3 games, I think.
Yeah.
17 overall.
I mean,
Top 5 touchdowns, top 5 passing yards, and won the division. We would have said MVP, and that's not even close to the case.
yeah.
What we have?
He's in LA too.
He needs to get out to a fast start in the playoffs.
Hey, real quick, let's talk about it. Why does Aaron not have as many yards? Is it because their offense is just like a cerebral offense, which is like bam, bam?
It's kind of been like that for like I don't think he's ever thrown for 5,000 yards. Like they I don't know, they are very balanced. You know, AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones both have over 1,000 total yards. Like, and the pack, like he's not throwing it 50 times a game like Tom is or some of these other guys. Like, you know, he's throwing it 30 when they're really playing on all cylinders and firing. He's throwing like 35 times, you know. So
playing with a lead a lot too.
That too.
Well, and also just not giving the ball to the other team.
Right.
Ever.
Yes, that's the biggest difference. That's so huge.
It's stupid, isn't it? The ball is the program, and somehow
defense is no going in. Okay, this guy never throws interceptions, so. If you get a chance to get your hands on a ball, you absolutely better catch it. So can you imagine if you're a dude like a DB and you drop a pick early against A-Rod? You know he's like, you know you're not getting any more of those, buddy.
Hey, that ain't gonna happen. That's why that first game was so interesting, so weird. I mean, it just looked nothing like what that offense would normally look like. They were left for dead. Now the number 1 team in the NFC. Everything runs through Lambeau. Congrats to these 5 quarterbacks leading the league. Top 5 sack leaders. T.J. Watt. 22 and a half, all earned too. I saw a lot of people talking about Strahan's last sack and what happened in that particular play versus what T.J. Watt had to do against, rival Ravens. But what an incredible year for him. He only played in 15 games, but it took the 17th game to get the record. So I think those conversations kind of balance each other out, tie the record. Then Robert Quinn still doing it. Robert Quinn still at the leaderboard. He was around whenever other people were getting 20, and he was getting 20 years and years and years ago. Myles Garrett was 16, Bosa with 15 and a half, and Trey Hendrickson, big-time offseason signing by the Cincinnati Bengals, rounds out the top 5. Congrats, fellas.
Here we go, boys.
Way to terrorize quarterbacks. Top 5 interception leaders. Trayvon Diggs had 11 of them things. J.C. Jackson quietly with 8. Trayvon Diggs got all the hype because how incredible all the catches were that he was making. J.C. Jackson, lockdown and 8. And then you add in, obviously.
Just call him Amanio.
That's
what everyone calls him.
Amania.
Amani. Oh.
Amani. Oh, shit. What a year, man. And then Bird, obviously, and then Micah Hyde, not in the Pro Bowl. 5 interceptions at safety position. Pretty impressive alongside Kevin there. Incredible year by these gentlemen.
Well done, boys.
How about
11 picks.
That's a lot. How about J.C. Jackson? What a stud, huh?
He's a monster.
They're going to probably end up franchise tagging him this year and then paying him next year.
Yeah, and then the Stephon Gilmore thing will happen with
Exactly.
him.
And then he'll ship him out of town.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, by the way, that's how the Patriots win. They do their thing.
Baby.
JC's a hell of a player. Good for him. Good for Trayvon Diggs. Good for all. Amanio putting up a show out there in Detroit. Let's go to the kicking leaders. This is strictly by percentage-wise on field goals. 94.6% field goal percentage for Justin Tucker, star of a 60 Minutes feature.
Wow.
There you go.
Longest 66. I mean, he has the longest ever, and that has to be one of the highest percentages in the history of the NFL with a certain amount of kicks happening. When he misses, the world is confused and makes no sense. Absolute superstar. Congrats to Tucker leading the league in percentage yet again. Matt Gay, 94.1% out in L.A. Sean McVay said, we got a guy with some swagger. We like him. Younghoe Koo down in Atlanta, onside kick master, 93.1% field goal percentage with a long of 54. Daniel Carlson had 5 game winners, I think. He's kicking at 93%, and he's also getting another contract and an extension. In the folk legend, the folk lore, Nick Folk, still doing it at 92.3%. Congrats to these 5 and the entire operation of Snap, Hold, and Kick. Yeah. AJ, your thoughts here. These are very high percentages for people that say kicking doesn't matter and they miss a lot.
Oh, I mean, I think these are – I had no idea they were this high. I really didn't. The top 5 I thought would be a little bit lower than this, and I'm looking to see where they kick, obviously. Justin Tucker especially having the highest percentage and a 66-yarder playing in Baltimore. We know it gets cold there. We've seen the practice field turn when the grass goes dormant, right? So this dude's kicking in all conditions as well. Kicks at Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, like that even makes it more impressive.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. The 66 was in Detroit. He took a little extra step, but what you're referring to is 100% accurate. 2 games in Cleveland, 2 games in Pittsburgh, 2 games in Cincinnati. That's a nightmare. And then if you look at Nick Folk, how you doing? Keep it moving. Foxborough's no fun. Buffalo is terrible. Miami is beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous.
It's warm too, humid, the ball flies. It's a little breezy down there. You know, it is down the bay, you know.
Yeah, sure. MetLife stinks.
Kicking
Dock of the bay.
a little breezy there. MetLife does stink to kick, but it's all impressive stuff. You still have to go out and make the kick regardless of what the weather is. What a season. Then let's get to the punters. How you doing? Keep moving. We went off of net yardage. Although net yardage isn't 100% the best way to go off of who the best punter in the NFL is, because if they're hitting pooch punts and they're doing their job right and getting fair catches at the 10 or the 9 or the 5, that's probably going to have a much shorter gross and net. But net is a good one because this is actual yards gained by your team in the punt play. So I think this is what is most important in the end, although I think stats should be changed on how they are calculated. Inside the 20 punt should be a percentage. It should be a cutoff at like the 45, your own 45 looking in. Those should be considered pooch punts. That should be a percentage like free throws, and then gross and net should be judged off of all other punts that happened before that. That is a way they could get punting into fantasy football, by the way. I hope somebody finally does that. With that being said, Brian Anger, 44.6 net. That is huge. Hell of a year, 48.4 yard gross average. So he's given up about 4 yards per punt. 43.6, Logan Cook had a baby.
Hey, Logan.
A lot of punting down in
punting a
Jacksonville.
lot, yeah.
And he did comment on my rant about us losing Clowntown. He said, hey, Bob, that's quite a shame.
Yeah.
That's quite a shame. Hey, he ended the season on a high note, had a hell of a year, 47.3 yard gross, 43, about 4 yards there. Sam Martin of Denver, and I'm not sure if Denver Broncos fans are pumped about Sam Martin or not. He had a gross of 46, which isn't great, obviously, is not high. I think he was looking for a lot of fair catches in that thing. He had a 42.8 yard net. That's unbelievable. 3 point some yards difference between your gross and net is obviously a fantastic thing. And he had 28 inside the 20 in this list that tops it. 42.6 net for Johnny Hecker, 44.2 gross. Congratulations for him. And AJ Cole, 42.5 with a 50-yard gross. So those balls are going a long way, but also getting some returns. Probably gave up 1 touchdown maybe. I'm not 100% sure that can eat your net and your gross. But congrats to each gentleman.
Yeah, boys.